everybody. Thank you for coming. It's my first ever talk. So, my name is Tilsley. I'm a holistic therapist from the Worthing area, specialising in Reiki, crystal therapies, coastal magic. I do a lot of druidry as well, so I also help people along the path with paganism. But mainly it's Reiki really. But I noticed a few years ago, I read an article in a magazine called Kindred Spirit. I don't know if any of you remember it. I read an article talking about how the Hawaiians use seashells with their healing. And it was a couple of pages, but it didn't really say much about it. And being brought up on the coral reefs of Bermuda, I actually had quite a lot of shells and corals that we picked in the 70s before we knew that we were doing damage. So I've always had bits and bobs littered around my house. So I started to pick things up and meditate with them. This was about 15 years ago, and every time I saw a shell in a shop, I would buy one. And the first ones I bought were something similar to these. And I noticed when I was meditating that they would calm me down. So I thought, okay, so I kept having a look around. So if I pass some of these out, I'll start at the back. Right, so they're all in pairs. So if you take a pair and then pass them on. I also have some large shells. Who would like to hold a Triton shell? Someone who hasn't held it before. Chris, you've held them all. So
I don't think I want to go there.
So I noticed holding that big Triton shell was like holding a newborn baby, and it was very nurturing. And we have some other shells here, a left-handed. Well, Marcus, would you like to hold that? Sort of hold it right there. And then we have various others. A New Zealand pua shell. Now the Maori use this in their totem poles. I know that's not quite the right phrase for them, but they cut bits out and use them. There's a heart chakra. They cut them out to make the eyes of the warriors look really scary. And then this one is a South African turban shell, or a turbo shell. Would you like to hold that? If you hold that by your solar plexus, the spiral starts to move the energy round, and you should start to feel buzzing. Now, my lovely mother-in-law bought this from a car boot sale and palmed it off on me, because I've got lots of bits and bobs. And I noticed as I was sitting with it, I put it on a plate stand, I could feel something coming off of it. So I started running this through my long-suffering friends' auras. I was like, come round and be a guinea pig, because I think these are working, and a few people have come round. Kirsty was my very first victim, as I call it. And we were just running the shell through people's auric fields. And if you sit there holding it by you, it's like it's one of those sad lamps. You really can feel the rays. And then the other night we were playing around with it. If you block these holes, the energy gets stronger. So all my friends are coming around to have healing, and they're all falling asleep on the table. I'm doing a meditation with them, and they're all... So there's something in it. Put some sea music on, hold a few shells, and you feel the might and swell of the ocean. So we thought, right, people use crystals in Reiki. These are the jewels of the sea. Why is no one using these? So I got on the internet about a year ago, and I started trawling through YouTube. And I found one tiny reference of a Hawaiian lady who was using, has anyone got the cowrie shells yet? There was a lady in YouTube, Kirsty, would you like to come and be my victim? I know Kirsty has a shoulder injury. Which shoulder is it? Left. Yeah. Okay, so I found this 5-minute viewing of a lady from somewhere like Maui or one of the Hawaiian Islands, and she uses one of these tiger cowries, and she's pulling the chi and the negative energy out. Can you feel that, Kirsty? I can just feel that there. She spends about 5 or 10 minutes pulling the negative energy into the shell cavity. Does it hurt you all down there as well? Does it sort of come...
It's round there.
It's round there, so it pulls under there as well. Okay.
And then this was injured as well for a little while.
Okay, so the negative energy gets drawn somehow into the shell cavity. And at the end, the shell actually feels heavier than when we started off. You felt this at my house, haven't you? And it absolutely blew us away. We were quite amazed at this. So it's really been experimenting with what they do, and we're finding new things out all the time. So I would pull the negative energy out with that, and then with one of these abalone shells, we actually repair the damage then. So I'm actually using the Reiki in my right hand to stabilise it, and the energy of the shell. Are you feeling that, Kirsty?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really strong. The energy from that shell is really, really powerful.
Okay. And does it feel like a magnetism?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually being held with the chi sort of around here. So I'm guessing that's the area. That is the level of distance I would need to do for this particular healing. So we thought, why don't we couple this with Reiki? People are using crystals with Reiki. And I run a little teaching school with Chris over there. Chris, do you want to raise your hand? Chris is the crystal guru. And we're sort of turning into seashell gurus now, aren't we? And we've been trying to think, how does this want to work with Reiki? Why are people not using this? And I've spent the year researching and looking at things. And then, in an absolute quandary, on full moon, I decided to go down to Worthing Beach and throw a spell into the water. As I'm a druid and a bit of a beach witch, I wrote a wish onto a bit of driftwood. Please give us some clarification for the Oceanic Reiki. I waited for high tide. I stood there in a howling gale with the rain beating sideways onto me, and then I threw this wish into the water, and the minute it hit the waves, the symbols were coming flooding in. I had to run to my bike, cycle home, repeating all the Reiki symbols for the attunements before I forgot them. That was at 12 o'clock midday. I next looked up from my iPad and it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had been typing out the attunements and the classes and thinking, right, it wants to happen now. So this is it. So we have developed, Chris and myself and a few of my other people. Christine's going to help us. Kirsty's been helping. Lorraine's been helping. So we've created 3 courses for Oceanic Reiki. It wants to be used if I pass some shells around, the big abalone shells, shall I start that end? And if you hold it, you can sort of feel it. I'll start with that one. If you hold it to your face, and you can feel the chi. Thank you, Kirsty. Who else has a bit of an injury that they would like some work on? Yes, that's fine. So we have the course booked now for Reiki 1. We have it booked for January. It's going to be a day's course, 1 attunement, and you'll get a shell as well. And we need to get people to start using these beautiful objects. Okay, where would you like me to work on? You've got a shoulder injury as well?
Neck, spine.
Okay.
They're very good.
Okay, so that one I've used, so that's heavier. So I'm just going to get you to hold this and feel how light it is at the moment. Okay? Okay, and it's this shoulder? Yes. This shoulder? Yeah. Okay. So I'll ground myself, ground my customer, and ask our guides to work with each other. Now you might be able to feel it, you might not. Don't worry if you can't. Okay, I'm starting to feel a bit of tension there. And just mentally give the pain to the shell. Are you feeling that? Okay. Yeah, it's a bit like an elastic band. We also have a symbol that came through for this cowrie shell, so it will work distantly. So if anyone has any questions while I'm doing this, please feel free to ask.
Do you use a method to cleanse the shells like you would do with crystal?
Yes, I've been using smoke. I can use water, but then you have to leave them dripping for ages. But I've been using smoke, Palo Santo or joss sticks, any kind of smoke really. So that's how I cleanse them. You can use the white light from Reiki, or the Seihei Ki symbol from the Reiki. How's that?
Yeah, I get a lot of things in it.
You're getting it okay? Is that all right? Or,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to give you that shell to hold again. You might be able to feel that it's a bit heavier. And I'm going to use a repairing. It's heavier? Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, so now I'm going to use a gentle mother of pearl with gold, silver and pink energy. You might be able to feel that now. It's just a soothing. You can feel it? It's really gentle, isn't it? And nurturing. So I think the big abalone shells are very cleansing. And I think these are just a real gentle nurturing. feel that in. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So if I was allowed to use smoke here, I'd have my Palo Santo stick and I would literally hold the shell over the smoke, pop it down. If you've got an amethyst bed, you can put them on an amethyst bed as well. You could use a pile of sand, but you'd need to be careful because of scratching the shell surfaces. Any questions, observations? Are you getting anything from hearing?
No, I've got like this weird tinnitus in my ear that I've had for ages, and while you were working, I just thought I wanted the shell out my ear. Because it's the same sound, it's just vroom,
Yeah,
vroom,
hold
vroom.
both of them and see where the magnetism.
Okay, I'm just playing with them.
Yeah, it is a question of playing with them.
But if this could go away, I'd be ecstatic.
So, should we pass some of these abalones around for people to feel? There we go. Anyone else like to come and have a feel of the shells? Questions?
I've got a dodgy knee.
You got dodgy knee?
That's my baby.
Which knee is it? Okay. Why is it I don't know my right my neck because I'm not a driver. Okay, so I start out far, and then I bring it in to where I can feel the chili coming quite low. Are you feeling that?
You feel something?
Yeah. So we can. Now I would be a bit careful about using these shells on people with pacemakers and on pregnant ladies. I would only be doing shoulders. I would be doing because I'm not sure what the spiral energy will do. Don't want it to make pacemakers move fast, or even if someone has a heart murmur. I would still heal them, but I would be very careful where I was using the shells. Now my right hand is actually shaking with the energy that's coming in.
It feels like some pressure on that side,
Right.
which is fine.
Okay. So you mentally give that pain to this shell. Put it away. Don't need this pain anymore. Are you finding it worse?
It was a little bit scorched there. So she's moved round.
Okay, so if I cover the holes up, you might feel it even stronger.
It's going right the way down the leg,
Okay.
which is good.
Okay. So we've cleansed and we've cleared that, and now hopefully. But these shells also act as a talking therapy. There is a hypnotherapist who uses a basket of shells like I just passed around, and he will just be talking to his client and he will notice what shell they've picked up. If they're picking up a clam shell, for instance, they might have problems talking, they might be clamming up. So you can use them on colour therapy, and you can also use the names as a play on word. Perhaps if they pick up a heart shell, they need a bit more music in their life.
It feels like freer.
It's eased up, is it?
It feels. I was going to say It's a weird thing to describe because it's almost like my knees in a vibes.
Okay. So I'm just going to use one of these gentle ones now, just to sort of finish it off. You might feel a very different energy with this one.
Softer.
Yeah. These are river mussels, so these are living in salt and in clear, fresh water. So they've got the best of both worlds really, and they have to be very adaptable.
Feels a lot clearer.
Okay. Oh, that's great, and that's from literally less than 5 minutes. So I'm hardly actually touching the patient at all. I'm working in their auric field. But I have also found that when clients are looking at where I'm working, they're also helping themselves to feel better because they're thinking of that pained area. And they're thinking, I don't want the pain there, and she's working there. So it's almost a bit psychosomatic as well. But I've had people that have messaged me and 3 days afterwards and the pain has still not come back. So it is acting like a Reiki treatment and like the crystals that we use. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
lovely.
Much clearer.
Lovely.
Should we have to run home now?
I was going to say, I'm not going to try the run.
Any other questions or observations before I go on? No? Well, we have lots of shells I used in lots of other cultures. This is actually from a temple in Nepal, and it's a trumpet. I cannot get a sound out of it. The gentleman over there can. But they would call the people to prayer with this. And where does the Triton shell? Who's got the big Triton? That apparently was blown by Poseidon when he went into battle. So a lot of these shells have got a lot of folklore about them. These whelks were often thought to symbolise the curls in Buddha's hair. So that's why they're called a Shankar shell. A lot of them have got carvings of Buddha, but we don't think this holds any healing properties. We think it's had a bit too much human activity around it. So I just bought this out of curiosity, really, because it's just so beautiful. This is another river mussel. Now I bought this when I was grieving for a family member, so I was actually using this in colour therapy before I even knew that shells had any healing properties. And I would just hold it here and I'd just stroke it and fiddle around with it. They're just so tactile. And people seem to go for this quite a lot when they're upset, I've noticed. The colour is just very nurturing. We found that clams and barnacles actually suck the negative energy out of you. You can drain the chi out into them. Who's got the spider cons? They will take negative energy out of you as well. And you can hold them up to your ears and hear the different tones. You've got the gentle river mussels there. You've got cowrie shells, so they're the ones that you chose that I used on your shoulder. They're a smaller version. So you intuitively picked those because you needed a bit of pain relief. You've got a scallop, lion's paw scallop, so you need a bit of bit of confidence, perhaps. And you've got something called a painted lady shell. Do you need to go out and get some glad rags on? Fig shells, we're not sure how those work yet, but they're very heavy and they're probably quite grounding. They're quite heavy. You've got your abalones, donkey's ears, heart shells. Do you need to sing your song? Is there something you need to say to someone? Okay, maybe expressions. But you might be able to hold those ones up to the ears and hear a different tone as well. And those are primrose conchs. They actually fight. They're a fighting conch. So you might need have a little bit of fun. Okay, so some of you picked shells that definitely you need.
What are these two little ones?
Those are called turban shells or turbo shells. So they will boost the energy. With those we tend to work with the spiral. It's quite an even, fast-moving spiral.
No, they're lovely.
Those are called trocas or top shells. They're from Mexico. I use them on the chakras to spiral in and spiral out. I also put one of those on my third eye. They are very fast-acting, and that has got pyramid energy. So that's working to draw things out. So, excuse me, what were these again? Those are cowrie, but I'm not sure of the variant. There's over 100 different cowrie shells to choose from. I would be able to look it up, but it might take me a while. Cowrie shells are also used by the Africans for fertility, because if you turn them over, they look like ladies' parts. So they actually put them on all their dance belts and you know, around the hip area. But cowrie shells were also used as money. They used them as pennies as money, so it was currency. So that will bring things towards you. That will bring
Money
hopefully, but not necessarily money. Perhaps a good life and good creativity. Anyone got any questions before we close up? No? Okay. Why don't we finish with a quick visualization? So if you've all got your shells, time, okay. Quick shell, do a very quick visualization because I'm being told to wind it up. Okay, so if you all imagine that you've got roots growing out of your shoulders and down past your hips and your knees and into the floor below you. And then I just want you to imagine that you're walking through a sea mist. You can feel the cool sensation of the water vapour as it hits your skin. Keep walking through it. And then the mist starts to clear and the sun breaks through. And you're on a beach somewhere in your inner cove, your inner soul. Within you, this beautiful beach resides, and it's a place that you can go to any time for rest and recuperation. On one part of the beach, you might notice a campfire. There are 2 trees with a hammock slung across, which you can go and lie in just when you need to take 5 minutes solace from the world. When you're sitting on the bus, you can go to this inner cove. And then I want you to walk down to the water's edge, because you've spotted something on the sand. As you get closer, you notice it's a seashell. And you feel the need to pick it up. This will be your seashell, your gift to take home with you today. in your mind's eye and in your inner heart. So you pick up your seashell and you thank the waves. And then you swap. And you walk back up the beach towards the sea mist. Just turn around and have one last look at your inner cove, knowing that you can come back here anytime you like. And you walk back through the sea mist and back into the room and into this timeline. Start to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And come back to my voice in this room. Just give a little brush around your face and down your neck and arms to bring you back into this time space. And thank you all for coming to see this talk.